Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to Uzlan Try. This is Laravel tips part 5. Today we fix one of the most common performance bugs in real Laravel applications, the n+1 query problem. And we settle a question that confuses a lot of developers. When do you use with and when do you use load? Let's start inside a real project. This is a real order management API. An order belongs to a customer and it has many order items. Every item belongs to a product. 4 models, 3 relationships, nothing unusual and probably very close to something you have already built. The endpoint looks completely ordinary. Fetch the orders, hand them to an API resource, return JSON. 12 lines of clean, readable code that would pass most code reviews without a single comment. But watch the query log when this endpoint is hit with just 50 orders. 1 query for the orders, then 1 for every customer, 1 for every item set, 1 for every product. 201 queries for a single request, and nothing in the PHP looks wrong. That is exactly why this bug survives code review. This Laravel code looks harmless. We fetch orders, then access each order's customer and items. If those relationships are not loaded, Laravel can query the database again for every order. One request can quickly become hundreds of queries, the n+1 problem. The first query retrieves the orders, then relationship access can trigger more queries. One set for customers, another for items, and potentially more for nested products. This is easy to miss inside an API resource because the PHP stays small while the database work grows with the size of the collection. Use with when you already know which relationships you need before executing the main query. Here, customer and items.product are declared on the query builder before get. Laravel then eager loads those relationships in batches instead of lazily querying them model by model. The key idea is timing. Their relationship requirement is known before the models are retrieved. Now imagine the orders already exist. Maybe another service returned them, or a later condition decides whether detailed data is required. This is where load fits. We retrieve the models first, then eager load the relationships onto that existing collection. Laravel does not rerun the original orders query. It performs the required relationship queries afterwards and it touches the results. So both methods solve an eager loading problem, but at different stages. With you are still building the original query and already know what data is required. With load, retrieval has happened and the requirement appears later. If a relationship is definitely needed, declaring it early with usually makes the intent clearer. If the decision is genuinely late, use load. Nested relationships can make n+1 much more expensive. An order has a customer, many items, and each item may have a product. Without eager loading, every layer can add database round trips. Using with customer and items.product tells Laravel to fetch that relationship graph in batches rather than discovering each relation one model at a time. This matters anywhere models are transformed or iterated. API resources, loops, service classes, reports, exports, and deeply nested relationship graphs. The dangerous part is that relationship access looks like normal object access. When reviewing Laravel code, ask one practical question before the line runs. Is this relationship already loaded or will touching it execute another query? Do not stop after changing the code. Inspect the actual SQL using dblisten, telescope, debug bar, or your normal profiler. Compare the query count before and after. Eager loading does not necessarily mean one giant SQL statement. Laravel commonly uses separate batched queries. What matters is that the query count stops growing with every model in the collection. Optimization should be measured, not assumed. Remember the timing. Need the relationship before the query? Use with. Already have the model or collection? Use load. Then inspect the SQL and confirm the n+1 problem is actually gone. So here is the rule to carry into your next project. If you know the relationship before the query runs, declare it with. If the models are already in memory, attach it with load. Then open your query log and prove the numbers stopped growing. Fix 1n+1 in your codebase this week and you will feel it. Endpoints get faster and your database stops sweating. That was Laravel tips part 5. If this helped you, subscribe so you don't miss next part. Thank you and see you in the next one.